Oh, hello. Worked on the first time, I see. That's the first. Let's see. A lot of talking in this part, no action. But you know, that's just the way it is, I guess. A day later, in the midst of the Battle of Liverpool, docks. Historians are gonna fight. Let's see. What time is it? 7:30 a.m. For a day later. Let's see. Okay, I guess I don't need these people anymore. Shortly after the end of the fighting at the guerrillas of Liverpool, in particular, the apolitical, mostly. Nah, it's apolitical. They just want to get the bad guys out of their country. Sure, there are a lot of people in there, but you know, maybe the ones with politics are a little more interesting. You know, like you gotta be a little suspicious of somebody who has claims to have no political beliefs. It's like, huh? It's like someone telling you they don't have any blood in their body. Like, well, it seems like a vital part of your identity. Blood, politics. In particular, the guerrillas of Liverpool, in particular the Liverpool Underground. Creative name, that, huh? Conducted a very effective assault on the dockyards, on the military dockyards. Civilian. People running around out there. I don't know why. 12 o'clock is a normal time to get up, but not in this household. Not for the people in it besides me, at least. Hope to God I'm never getting up just at 12 p.m. It's just terrible. At the latest, I'd want to get up in a day 10. But not these days. That would be a nightmare. If I overslept till 10, I would miss all my writing sessions. And, yeah. The assault on the military, which started at 8:10 p.m. I'll have to check and see the actual time. The guerrillas were able to disperse a jade chemical weapon at the start, which tipped things in their advantage for a time. The docks eventually received enough. The guerrillas went about the business of wiping out the Jade garrison there that survived the chemical attack weapons and destroyed a number of ships at the docks using explosives. A number of ships, 10 ships were sunk, but many were left fine. 10. Dozen ships. I'll have to check. There's a problem with making specific claims. You have to have specific evidence, and you can't contradict. Everybody said a bunch of ships were destroyed. Well, then there's no contradiction. But if I said 10 ships were destroyed, and earlier I mentioned 15 were wiped out, then who's right and who's wrong? This me or the earlier me who said a dozen ships? I don't know. Let's see. I should delete all this. Let's see. The attack. Jade reinforcements eventually forced the guerrillas to make an escape through the city streets to avoid being encircled and wiped out. Jade were in hot pursuit, and a roaming gun battle took place through many streets, both small and large. From small alleys to great avenues. I think I showed a little of this briefly, so, you know, even when I mention stuff, I still show it, you know. I like to show, not tell. Pains me to tell instead of show. Like, you know, like all the references to people fighting in World War I. It's not like I showed all the craziness of World War I, just a few battles. It's, you know, World War I, mostly people getting out of trenches and dying horribly. Sometimes they even die in the trenches, you know. Yeah. Basically one long shootout until the tank showed up, and then things became a bit different, you know. Well, of course, there were tactics and stuff before that. World War I isn't exactly like people think, you know, that it was just people marching out of trenches and dying, even though that's what I just said. But, you know, I guess to anyone who would see a battle, that's what it would look like. But they did have some tactics did evolve, and the crazy human wave attacks at the start of the war eventually ended, you know, because, well, you know, they neither side had enough men to just do that for the next 4 years, you know. No country, no matter how big, can shrug off 10 or 20 million dead young men, except of course Russia, but they didn't lose, but there were women and children mixed in there. It wasn't like all their able-bodied men died. I'm talking about World War II. I don't know how many people Russians lost in World War I, but it was not nearly as much, which is kind of interesting because the failures of the Russian military in the Great War, all the heavy casualties and stuff, that was one of the reasons why they had the Soviet Revolution. And the Tsar abdicated and all that nightmares happened in the Civil War. You could sum up the history of Russia by saying, and then things went from bad to worse, and from worse to worse, and from worst to, you know, just keeps going. Let's see. The guerrilla fight for the docks was over by 5:30 a.m. Is that right? Well, I'm gonna have to correct like 20 things in just this one paragraph. If I'm wrong. I probably am wrong. I'm one consistency, always wrong. To Wilhelmina. This was her cue to skidoo. No. To launch her own attack. She had been observing, invisible, from some rooftops. Sometimes she psychically entered some body, saw the fighting through their eyes, while also some feeling a bit of what they felt. Well, I mean, I felt their fear, their pounding hearts, their occasional mournful thought of loved ones that they were likely to leave behind, promises that were not going to be kept, promises to people. I guess if I wanted to go complete alt language, I guess one medium where you could do total fictional language for everybody would be anime. I mean, if you're gonna watch it with, if most people watch anime with subtitles, I heard. So you know, if they wanted to make a fictional language, no one would mind, I guess, except the voice actors. I guess it's kind of hard to do fictional languages. I used to wonder what the point was, and I realized, oh, world building. And now I made like 3 or 4 fictional languages for my current story, pitting in words here and there. If my editor, if I ever am lucky enough to get an editor, if he says, "What the fuck are you doing here?" I'd say, "It's okay. I have a list, you know. Just change them all back to the light language. It shouldn't take more than a day of this or that. I don't know." Or likely leave behind promises to people. Well, how many know? Sometimes the person Will Helmina was looking through ended up killed. Well, Helmina didn't feel pain, but she did, from her point of view. Things just went dark. And then she was floating there. Her mind kind of separated from her body. In a wandering spirit sort of way. She imagined this. She imagined her mind is looking like a ghost of herself. But she actually didn't know. No. Maybe it just looked like some brain floating, ripped out of her skull. Some transparent brain just floating around the city. Astral form. Anyway. Well, Helmina knew her share of occultists, and she believed the term for this, for a wandering spirit of a person was the astral body. Her mind spirit, her astral body. Is astral body, yeah. I think I've heard that term used for ghosts too. Like the astral body is just the body of a spirit. Not sure. I mean, I've done research into the occult, but not that much research. I don't have an encyclopedic knowledge. Hey, I should read a few more books on the occult. Those things are like gold mines of crazy ideas for stories, you know? Plus, I think occultists are safe villains, and even in our politically correct times, you know? Might get to be the point where someday where the only villains you can have are like evil wizards who aren't even human beings, you know? Like bad guys in kids' TV shows, and, you know, well, when you get to that point, people might as well just say boycott the whole publishing thing. Like, you know, just publish yourself and do everything uncensored, you know, because people like uncensored stuff. They don't like censored stuff. They want good entertainment. Launches vicious assault. Well, Helmina had a few times actually felt the pain had during her earlier in a few much earlier incidents in Wilhelmina's life. She had gone into people's bodies and felt the pain of their injuries and even their deaths as well. Wow. Everything going dark. Everything going all dark and cold. Well, I mean, I thought she came close to almost dying with those people. People she entered. Wilhelmina could have controlled those people. People who she entered. Like puppets. Like they were puppets. Puppets. But, Wilhelmina saw no need for that. She didn't have much interest in taking part in the current battle. Well, as some regular grunt with one of those assault rifles. Not when she could sling great balls of purple fire at everyone. Goodness gracious, great balls of fire. Like the Jade Soldier sees it flying above, he says, "What's that?" He says, "What's coming at us?" He goes, "Goodness gracious, great balls of fire." And then the battleship is blown up and everyone is killed. Well, I mean, it did have a little personal reason for fighting the Jade at Liverpool. Jade now. They had wronged her plenty of times in the past. They supposed, let's see, siege of Paris. Wilhelmina. Did I say she was no longer helping? Let's check on Liverpool, Part 1. They had wronged her plenty of times in the past. She supposed the straw that broke the camel's back was when the Jade captured a bunch of officers of her cult in a bloody raid on some castle where they in Austria, where they were held up. Yeah, a castle in Austria, that's a pretty good place to hold up if you're a bad guy. I mean, you remember what cult? Would they be members? If there really were goddish-like people in the world, would there be cults dedicated to them? You bet your ass there would be. There are so many people out here that don't believe in religion because it's something they can't see, you know. Many people in the modern day want proof. Like in the Bible, there's all kinds of miracles, but where are those miracles now, you know? Where's the burning bush? Where's God striking down the wicked people of the world and punishing and all that stuff? You know, people you don't see that, so, you know, they want a little evidence. I mean, who wouldn't become a believer in God if Jesus came down from heaven right now and started healing the sick and preaching the word of God, you know? But essentially he's not coming down from heaven, who knows? But, you know, if there were goddess-like women, you know, they would be like, yeah, that's something I can see and believe in. It's like people believe in a dictator. A dictator, at least, is someone who's real. Hitler and Stalin, they were real, you know? And a lot of people put, like, a religious is literally the right word, because, yeah, I think so. A religious faith in them, you know? Let's see, bloody raid on some castle in Austria where they were held up. Wilhelmina expected to find out everyone was dead, but the Jade had actually captured her loose. They demanded Wilhelmina's submission to the Jade Empire, that she turn herself in. Wilhelmina refused and made a demand of her own. Release my men, Roots, or suffer my wrath. The Jade, defiant fuckers, a lot of them, had executed the Loots. All 10 of them, and their bodies were left to rot, hanging from trees near the taken castle, for Wilhelmina to find. Wilhelmina planned on storming that castle later and killing any Jade she found within, without mercy. But first, there was the matter of Liverpool. She found out about the operation via some worshipper within the Allied High Command. Yeah, I guess we'll kill that mystery here briefly. I mean, why not, right? Telling a story from multiple points of view, some things are gonna be revealed no matter what you do, you know? Do you act like it's a big to-do? No, because this isn't really a major mystery. Like, who told Wilhelmina about the Liverpool incident? And I'd say, well, I don't know. Just some guy, I guess. That's how most of it, like, that's how most of it goes. Like, how'd they find out our agents were operating in this village? Some guy probably told them. Some mole. Or maybe someone just saw something and reported to the Gestapo, and now they're, and now someone's out for blood because he's gonna get a promotion if he captures some spies, you know? Opportunism is a understandable motive, you know? There's a lot of people. I mean, worst comes to worst, so you can't figure out a motive for your bad guy. There's always money and ambition. Yeah. Don't know what motive you give someone in the post-apocalypse, like in that Walking Dead show. I guess it's just a matter of survival, because money's not that useful anymore, is it? What the hell happened to my cord here? Looks like someone nibbled on it. I don't get it. I don't get why so many of these modern pieces of technology wear out so quickly versus old stuff. I mean, you could find all these nice tin soldiers from the turn of the century that still have nice metal paint on them. But for some reason, these microfiber plastic-covered cords can barely last a year before they start looking like they're all getting worn out, you know? And there's some worshiper in the high command. It sounded like an Operation Wilhelmina was no military mind genius, but the operation sounded doomed to fail. So Wilhelmina decided to involve herself and finish what she thought the Allied guerrillas couldn't. She was surprised that they got as far as they did, but they still left plenty for her to destroy. Do I stop here? Let's see. Well, Amina also brought her spiders, giant spiders, into the city. Most of them were underneath the streets. We're 30 minutes in. How can that be? Because I started 6 minutes in. Okay. That accounts for the missing 6 minutes. Most of them were underneath the streets in the sewers. Well, Amina put a psychic spell over them so that anyone who saw them would forget about them. No, that's not right. So nobody could... So they were invisible to all but very powerful psychics. Apparently there were none of those in Liverpool at the moment. Well, I was gonna write until I got to an action scene, but I guess I'm not going to yet. Sorry about that, folks. Have a nice day. See you later.